When Maya Johnson was born, the hospital room was quiet in a way that felt heavier than silence. Not because she wasn't loved, her mother loved her with a fierceness that would later become legendary, but because the world had already decided who Maya would be before she ever opened her eyes. A black girl, from the wrong neighborhood, to a single mother. Labels came before lullabies. Her mother, Denise, held her close and whispered promises the world never would. "You're safe with me," she said, "and one day you'll be more than they expect." Maya grew up in a small apartment with peeling paint and a heater that worked only when it felt like it. Some winters were so cold that Denise wrapped Maya in 3 layers of sweaters before bed. Some summers were so hot that sleep came only after midnight. But no matter how hard things got, one thing never changed. Denise never let Maya believe she was less. Still, the world tried. In kindergarten, Maya learned that her name was often said wrong. Teachers smiled but corrected her confidence. When she spoke loudly, she was told to lower her voice. When she asked questions, she was told to wait her turn again and again until she stopped asking at all. By 3rd grade, Maya noticed how differently she was treated. The other kids' mistakes were called learning moments. Hers were called problems. When she stood up for herself, she was labeled difficult. When she stayed quiet, she was forgotten. At home, she asked her mother why things felt harder for her. Denise paused, choosing honesty over comfort. "Because the world isn't fair," she said softly. But unfair doesn't mean unbeatable. Those words stayed with Maya. Middle school was worse. Her body changed. Her skin darkened in the sun, and suddenly people saw her not as a child, but as a threat. Teachers watched her more closely. Security guards followed her in stores. Classmates made jokes they pretended were harmless. "You're so loud. You're so intense. Why are you always angry?" Maya wasn't angry. She was tired. Tired of explaining herself. Tired of shrinking. Tired of pretending not to notice. So she learned a new skill, disappearing. She stopped raising her hand. She stopped correcting people when they were wrong about her. She stopped dreaming out loud. She learned that silence felt safer than being misunderstood. High school arrived with new challenges and the same old expectations. Guidance counselors suggested practical goals. Friends talked about futures that felt out of reach. When Maya mentioned college, people nodded politely but changed the subject. At night, she wrote in a notebook she hid under her mattress. Pages filled with dreams she didn't dare say out loud. Pages filled with fear. Pages filled with anger she had nowhere else to put. Denise found the notebook once, accidentally. She didn't read it. She didn't need to. "You don't have to be quiet." "Here," she told Maya. "This world already tries to silence you enough." College acceptance came in a thin envelope that Maya almost didn't open. She expected rejection. It had become familiar. But when she read the word congratulations, she sat on the edge of her bed and cried until her chest hurt. College was freedom and fear wrapped together. For the first time, Maya saw people who looked like her succeeding. For the first time, she also felt the pressure of being the only one. In lecture halls, she was often the sole black woman. Her answers were questioned more. Her achievements were met with surprise instead of praise. She worked 2 jobs to afford books. She skipped meals without telling her mother. She smiled through exhaustion. She learned to perform strength even when she felt fragile. There were nights she wanted to quit. One night, after failing an exam she had studied weeks for, Maya sat on the cold bathroom floor and let herself break. She called her mother, her voice shaking. "I don't think I belong here," she said. Denise didn't rush to fix it. She let the silence breathe. Then she said, "Belonging isn't something you ask for. It's something you claim." So Maya claimed it. She joined discussions. She challenged professors respectfully but firmly. She applied for internships she didn't feel ready for. She heard no more times than she could count. Each rejection hurt, but each one hardened her resolve. Graduation day arrived quietly. No dramatic music, no viral moment. Just Maya in a cap and gown, scanning the crowd until she found her mother crying in the front row. That night, Denise hugged her and whispered, "You did what they said you couldn't." The real world was colder. Job interviews came with polite smiles and empty promises. Her resume was strong, but her phone stayed silent. When offers finally came, they were always lower than expected. Budget constraints, they said. Entry level, they said. Maya accepted one anyway. The office was sleek and white and painfully quiet. She noticed how often her ideas were ignored until repeated by someone else. She noticed how praise came sparingly. She noticed how confidence in others was seen as leadership, while hers was seen as attitude. There were days she went home numb. There were nights she cried in the shower so no one could hear, but she didn't leave. She learned the system. She documented everything. She supported herself the way she wished others would. Slowly, painfully, she became undeniable. One day, during a meeting she almost skipped, Maya spoke up. Her voice didn't shake this time. The room went quiet, not dismissive but listening. Her idea was adopted. Her name was credited. It wasn't magic. It was years of survival finally being seen as strength. Promotions came slowly. Respect came slower. But it came. The day she moved into her own apartment. A real one. With sunlight and heat that worked. Maya stood in the empty living room and laughed. Not because she had made it, but because she had endured. She called her mother. "I'm okay," she said. Denise laughed through tears. "I know." Years later, Maya stood in a room full of young women who looked like her. They asked how she did it. They asked how she stayed strong. They asked how she survived being overlooked. Maya didn't sugarcoat it. "It was hard," she said. "I doubted myself. I got tired. I wanted to quit. But I learned that my voice mattered even when no one clapped." That night, alone, Maya thought about the girl she used to be. The one who learned to disappear. The one who believed silence was safety. She wished she could tell her something. So she whispered it into the quiet room, for herself and for every girl still learning to survive. You were never too much. They were just not ready, and for the first time, the silence felt peaceful.